Hey, it's Cheryl from Home on My Making. I'm here to inspire you to create a surrounding you love. I wanted to come on today and show you a cute craft involving Mod Podge, tissue paper, and a piece of material. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take a piece of white fabric, and I am using a muslin type fabric. You know, use whatever you have at home. You can use a print, but if you use a print, then whatever tissue paper you use, probably use a tissue paper that's not printed. So I'm going to use just a white piece of fabric, and then I'm going to use colored tissue paper. So as you get on here, let me know that you're watching. Give me some thumbs up, some hearts. Let me know where you're watching from. Let me try to get you on here. So yes, so what we're gonna do is I'm gonna start with a piece of fabric. Now this can be a messy project because it involves Mod Podge. So always under your project, keep some kind of plastic or, you know, a plastic tablecloth or whatever. But I have like a plastic little, I guess it's a placemat or a cutting board from the Dollar Tree. So I'm going to start with a piece of white material. Then I'm going to take tissue paper. Now this tissue paper also was from the Dollar Tree. It actually has a nice selection of designs. So whatever you have at home, even if you have crunched up tissue paper that has been used. Hey Janice, hey Marla, hey Sandy, hey Donna. So yeah, even if you have like used tissue paper, that's okay. So for those of you just hopping on, I'm using a piece of material. Now you could do this as big as you want. I'm only doing it this size because that's the size of the placemat. I don't want to get it on my desk. So take a piece of material, cut to whatever size. And like I was saying a little bit ago, I am using a white muslin. You could use white, you could use color. Hey Haley, how are you? Look at my hairdresser's on here. Hint. So yeah, so I'm just going to start with a regular piece of white muslin. Then I'm going to choose what tissue paper I want to use. But before we go there, I want to show you what you have to do with the tissue paper. So what you're going to do with your tissue paper is you're going to take it and you're going to rip little pieces off, just like this. Whatever tissue paper you're going to use. So just keep ripping, and if you're going to use the different colors or styles like I have in here, do that. So I did go ahead and do that, and I have a big pile of them right here. You do kind of want to squish them too. Hi Dawn, hi Cynthia, hi. Oh Donna, thank you for sprinkling already. So that's what we're going to do. So get your little pieces cut up, get your fabric laid down, make sure it's on top of a something that the Mod Podge, if it seeps through, it won't stick. So a Dollar Tree tablecloth, or even if you have a tablecloth at home that's plastic, that's fine too. So here's what we're gonna do. So when you have everything ready, then you proceed to the next step. So I'm gonna take a little jar. Not a little jar, little plastic container. I get these at the dollar store, and I'm going to mix up a 50-50 ratio of Mod Podge and water. So that's about half, and then I'm going to put just as much water in there, and then I'm going to stir it. And that's going to be what we're going to use, a watered down Mod Podge. So just make sure you can stir that. And then set that to the side. So you have your fabric ready to go. You have your little pieces of tissue paper ready to go. And then you can proceed with the craft. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wet this a little bit with the Mod Podge. And I'm going to use a foam brush. Yes, I am totally starting over, Lori. I tried to go on 3 times today, but my internet was not working, or the connection wasn't working, and I don't know why, because nobody else was on it in the house. I guess a lot of people in the area were on it. I don't even know how that stuff works. So here's what I'm going to do. Just lay a little bit of this watered down Mod Podge on the fabric using a foam brush. This is why you need a plastic thing underneath it, because obviously this is a glue-like substance, and it would glue as it dries to whatever it's attached to, but it will be able to come off this plastic placemat. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to start with that and just make, you don't have to make it saturated, but just get it wet. Not wet, but just get it covered with the watered down Mod Podge. Then what you're going to do is the pieces that you have had cut or tore of the tissue paper, now we're going to start to build on this. So what you're going to do, thank you, Donna, for sprinkling on your page. I really appreciate it. Yes, for whoever's just on here and has never been to the page, if you can and you enjoy this, like and follow me. And if you really enjoy it, please sprinkle it to someone else's page. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to totally cover the cloth with these pieces of tissue paper. And then on the top of them, put another layer of Mod Podge. And as you're doing that, just try to get most of the air bubbles out. You can kind of see it as you do it if there's an air bubble in there. Don't do it too hard because you will rip the paper, because it is tissue paper. But what we're going to do is put this whole, cover this whole thing with the torn pieces of tissue paper. Just randomly put them all over. And if you want to crinkle them just to give it a little bit more texture, you can do that, because it's going to dry and it's going to have that look of a crinkled piece of paper. So that's what I'm going to do. Now, obviously, this is going to vary depending on what paper you use on here. Somebody asked me if they could use a printed piece of material, and my suggestion was, yes, you can, but I probably would just use solid tissue paper colors. This way, because as you see, this is going to be on top of white, so that the tissue paper is going to be the color. If you did it the opposite way, then the fabric would be the color. And you'll see what I mean as I get this done. So that's what I'm doing. So thank you for joining me, guys. As you're on, let me know you're on here. Give me a thumbs up. Give me a, hey Lori, how are you? Yeah, just let me know you're watching. So I'm going to cover this whole page. This whole piece of fabric. So obviously, the variables are going to be the color paper you use, what kind of tissue paper you use. And if you have tissue paper that has already been used, that is perfectly fine to use on here. So like all the ones you keep from within your dollar store bags, if you do keep the paper like I do sometimes, if it's not totally trashed, you could use this in this project, because it doesn't need to be perfect tissue paper, meaning new. But the Dollar Tree really had a nice selection of paper. Like I said, this was this, so this has all these selections in there, and I did tear all of them. Can you put the camera down? I can. Thank you for telling me that. Is that better? Can you see better? Let me see what you guys are seeing. Can you see that better now, guys? Give me a thumbs up if you see that better. So I'm going to totally cover this whole entire thing, going over it with a little bit of the Mod Podge. Like I said, this can be messy. That's why you do want to put something underneath it that, in case it sticks to whatever you have. If you don't put something underneath it, it will stick to whatever you got. This will peel off though once it's dried. Nice and easy, because it's a piece of plastic. Like I said, it's a, I guess they're cutting boards from the Dollar Tree. They come 2 in a pack, so I usually use them under here to do my craft so it doesn't get on my table. Yes, thank you. It worked better, Jen. You can see it better. It seems like every time I come on, my camera is at a different angle. It just depends on how I put the tripod. But thank you for telling me, because sometimes between talking, crafting, and watching the comments, you miss some things along the way that you don't normally see. So, it needs some more paper ripped up. Let's see what color I want to use. Let's do more of this one. So this was really nice, a nice selection of paper that the Dollar Tree had. But usually if you buy it in a pack, it has coordinating colors, and that makes it kind of an easy decision on which ones to put on here. So remember, that's a 50-50 mix of Mod Podge. You do have to water it down to do this on top of the tissue paper because it's so thin. So there's a piece of material under here for those of you who just came on. You're loving the colors. I know, and I didn't even really pick them out. It was the color selection that was in the whatchamacallit, the tissue paper. So there you go. I'm going to keep doing that till I'm done. So what you want to do is you want to cover the whole entire fabric with your tissue paper. Almost done. And make sure when you, because you do have an edge where the fabric is, just make sure you get that covered too, because you'll see what I'm going to do. So just rip and go if you need more, because I never know how much I'm going to need. But the moral to it is to cover the whole entire cloth that you have under here. There's actually a name for this. It's called paper cloth or paper fabric. Because once this dries, it's going to be like a piece of fabric because it's going to have the backing of the muslin. If it does tear, and sometimes you can tear it, just make it flat. So what I'm going to do is I got one more piece over here to do, and then I'm all done doing the whole entire. Hi Sylvia, I just put a piece of fabric, muslin, under here, then I saturated it with a watered down version of Mod Podge, and now I'm putting pieces of tissue paper on top, covering it with Mod Podge again. And I'm almost done, and I'll show you the next stage. So I just got a couple of little edges that I need to get done, and then the whole piece will be covered. This is why I say you need to put something underneath this, because it can tend to be a mess. Because Mod Podge is like glue. It's like Elmer's glue. So far this is what I have. This whole entire piece is covered with that fabric, and it's pretty sopping wet. That's why you do want to keep it on something plastic-like. Okay, so what you do is make sure this whole entire thing is wet on top of every piece that you put down. Just make sure you don't rip it along the way. Pressing it would probably be a better idea. And if you do see any kind of, what do I want to say, air pockets, just brush them out to the side. You'll see as you're doing it where they're at. And just press, make sure it's all attached. to the fabric. And then what you're gonna do is you need a piece of white. Hey Katie, how are you? You need a piece of white, just plain white, and you do this whether it's a colored fabric or not. You need a piece of white tissue paper on top of this. So once that's totally saturated, I am going to take a piece of white, let me see if I got a piece of white tissue paper, approximately the same size of the whole piece. So let me see if I can do that. And then you're going to put that on top of there. So this is going to cover the whole entire piece of material and everything else that you put on there. Actually, that's not going to work. So let me do this, and I'll know how big it is. So this is going to go right on top of it. It's not going to discolor the whatchamacallit, the pattern that's down there. Once it's Mod Podged over, it will definitely still leave the color out. I'm gonna, hello Jeanette, how are you? I'm gonna mix up a little bit more of my Mod Podge, which is a 50-50 mix, because I've got to have to go over the whole entire top. So stick with me and I'll show you how this is gonna turn out. Thanks, Katie. I would say this is a kid craft, Katie, but it's sticky and messy. You'll see in a second. It's called fabric paper because there's a piece of muslin under here, Katie, that I put this tissue paper on. So what I'm going to do is I'm totally going to, again, saturate the top of this and press it down with the Mod Podge. That is a 50-50 mix of Mod Podge and water. So it's not full strength Mod Podge, it's watered down. Again, if you got air bubbles, try to scoop them to the side. You'll see them when you're doing it. You probably can't see them on camera, but you'll see them. And then just pat this down. So after you got the whole entire piece done and you think it's secure, because you'll be able to see it, get the ends, the sides especially, because those are the ones that'll pop up. Just make sure it's flattened and totally covered with the Mod Podge. This is definitely going to dry brighter than it looks right now once it is dried. So the next step, at this point, if you are a bling bling person, you can put rhinestones in here. You could put whatever embellishments you want. It will, hi Lola. It will, I got distracted. My great niece is on here. It will stick to the Mod Podge. And if you were to put anything raised, just go a little bit of Mod Podge over the top of it. But what I'm going to put on it, just because I have it, is I'm going to put some glitter on it. And that'll stick to the wet Mod Podge. But at this point, you could do any embellishments you want. And the thing about this is now you're going to have to wait for this to dry. It will take a while, if not overnight. But I do have one already prepared to show you. So what I do is I set this to the side because this is totally sopping wet. This is the reason why you wanted that plastic on the bottom of it. So I'm going to set that to the side, and then I'm going to show you some of the ones that I got done. So this is what it's going to look like when it's done. So I trimmed the side, and that's the backing that has the muslin on it. So at this point, hey Kim, how are you? Katie's on. At this point, this can be used for anything. So now you have a piece of material and you can do whatever you want. If you wanted to make designs out of this, which I will show you later what I have done with this, I wanted to show you on this tutorial the process of this, and it's called fabric paper. So this is hard, it's stiff, it's got a nice backing to it. This is the one that I did last night. This is the one using the same exact colors as I just did. This one's not dry yet, so I haven't cut it out, and it's still on the back of the plastic, as you can see. I haven't taken it off because this one's still wet. I did 2 of them to show you. So what I'm going to do is I am going to make things out of this. So this is called fabric paper. You put a piece of material down, whatever you have, usually a white piece, and then any type of tissue paper you have, you would Mod Podge a 50-50 mixture over the fabric. Then you will put your pieces down of torn tissue paper. Then you'll put another piece of another layer of Mod Podge over, and then any embellishments as you want. I don't know if you could see, but this one has glitter on it too. You could do glitter, you could do little rhinestones, you could put little pearls in there, you could put little beads in there, and then you would go over it again if there's a raised embellishment. And that's what we call fabric paper. So at this point, this from here on, you could do whatever with this once it's dry. And I will come back and show you what I'm doing with this after I got it made. But a lot of times I make my product ahead of time, so when I am doing a craft, it's already done. So like if you've watched me, you've seen me do like a faux galvanized steel out of a Dollar Tree sheet pan. So if I already have that made when I'm doing a craft, then I can use it right away. So this can be used for anything. Like if you wanted to cut these out in egg shapes, you can make a banner. If anything, you can make anything out of this from this point on. And think of all the variables. This is just one set. This was an actual other set of tissue paper from the Dollar Tree, but I'll show you another set that I got. See this set? So that'll be cool too. These 4 different variations on it. And use what you have. I just happen to have a lot of tissue paper, and the patterns are pretty cool. So this was one that came all together, and then this was another fabric tissue paper combo that came all together. So that's what I wanted to show you. I wanted to come on and show you. Yes, neat, fun for 4th graders for Mother's Day next year. Yes, when we get back to school. You're trying to see beginning. Kim, what I did is I took a piece of muslin, white fabric, put it on a piece of plastic, cut it out. Then I put a 50-50 mixture of Mod Podge and wet that whole piece of material. Then I tore up little pieces of tissue paper, covered that whole thing with them, with the muslin with the tissue paper. And then I pressed it down, did another layer of the 50-50 mix of Mod Podge, and then put 1 sheet of white tissue paper over the top. So that's the whole process. This one is dried, as you can see. It's not wet. It does take Cynthia, you never heard of fabric paper to now. I know. And I'll show you what I'm going to do with it, because I don't want to do that in this tutorial, because I want this tutorial to just be how to do the process of, but I'll show you some things you can do. I mean, at this point, use this as any kind of embellishment on anything. I mean, I could actually make a round and then put a felt flower on top of it. You could do anything. You're welcome, Kim. You could do anything with this. And think of all the possibilities with tissue paper that we have. Can you imagine if this was green and red and white? It would be Christmas or star. So you could use it for different craft ideas, but this is just the process that I wanted to show you today. And I will probably be on tonight and showing you what I made with at least this one, because this one's dry. The other 2 aren't dried yet. So thank you for watching. If you are new to this page and you would like to sprinkle this, I would appreciate it. Thank you, Sylvia. Donna, you're dying to see what can be made from this. Did you ever watch the galvanized steel one? It just seems like once I have something like this made, I add it to like every creation that I have. So if you're new to the page, I'd appreciate if you'd like and follow me. That's that little thumbs up there. And if you want to get notified when I go live, there's a notification under there if you swipe the words back. You're welcome, Patty. Thank you for the hearts, guys. And just want to remind you, if you are interested, I do have a giveaway going on, and it involves going to my video that I did on Wednesday of this week. If you scroll down the video section, you'll see the one for Wednesday. I made a bunny with a little crown. If you go to that video and share it from that video and tell me you shared it, you'll be entered to win a felt banner. And that giveaway is going to be tomorrow. I'll be on tomorrow with the giveaway. And another thing is I have a private group called Creating with Cheryl, where those of you that create and are crafty and want to join, even if you're not crafty, go over there. It's Creating with Cheryl, and it's CHERYL. It's a private group, so we can chit chat about what we make and maybe some hints and tips and tricks and questions. Like if you did a craft like this and you wanted to show me, that's where you do it. So we have another little community over there, and it's called Creating with Cheryl. So Kathy's saying hello to Donna. Katie's saying hello to Kim. I'm glad friends are on here. Friends, cousins, everybody. So thank you for watching, and I'll be back later on tonight because I do have a craft that I want to show you how I actually use this. So thank you for watching. Have a great rest of your Sunday. Hope it's relaxing. Or Sunday. It's not even Sunday. It's Saturday. It's Saturday. There you go. I don't even know what day it is, which is a good thing. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you later. Bye.